This week on the Computer Chronicles, a hands-on demo of Windows 95. A visit to the Win95 launch with Bill Gates and Jay Leno. Some advice on how to learn how to use the new version of Windows, a sneak preview of 2 new Win95 applications, a guide to online help for Windows 95, and this week's computer news. All coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by Hewlett-Packard, working with industry leaders to ensure compatibility across the board and across the network. HP PCs, you're looking at partnership in a whole new light.
The Computer Chronicles is also made possible by the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. Unless you've been asleep somewhere for the last few months, you no doubt know that Windows 95 is upon us. Several million people have already bought the Win95 upgrade, but most computer users are still thinking about it. Should you buy it? Is it worth the $89? And how will your PC life be better if you have Windows 95? These are the questions we'll try to answer for you today. First of all, let's take a look at some of the features of Windows 95, and for that we brought in an expert, Joe Fabris of Microsoft. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, Stuart.
All right, here's Win95, and obviously, first of all, it looks different. I don't see my usual program manager, my little windows. Tell me what's going on here.
Well, we combined the program manager and the file manager into a single uniform desktop, and that's what we see here, where I've got an icon representing my computer and all its peripherals, network connection, and other folders and icons that I can add as I customize it.
All right, so the big thing is bottom left, the Start button, which is kind of intuitive. I want to start doing something, so I click on Start, and show me how I launch a program in Win95.
Sure. If you click on the Start button, you'll find there is an icon called the Programs over here. And this is where everything that you had in your old program manager has gone to when you start Windows for the first time under Windows 95.
All right, and that first window that opens up, I can customize that too and determine what will show up when I click Start, right?
Exactly. Everything above the program is a customization that I've done prior to coming in today.
All right, so I want to run a program, so I drill down there in the menus.
And I'll go over to Microsoft Office.
Okay.
This is Office for Windows 95. And I'll launch Excel simply by clicking on it one time.
All right, so Excel is up and running now. And what happens if I want to run a second program, or I want to do something else while Excel is running?
And that's one thing that Windows has always been good at, and now it's gotten better. In fact, this time what I'd like to do is, instead of trying to go find an application and run a document, I like to find a document and run an application. So I'll go over here to the Documents menu on the Start button, which keeps track of the last 15 or so applications that you ran. And
so
I'll
it
go
keeps
here.
track of the last 15 things I did, regardless of what application it was, not just in Excel or not just in Word.
Right, and it doesn't matter whether it was on your machine or on a network
Okay.
drive, it'll go and find it. So I'll
So
click
you
on
want to
this
open
one.
that memo.
Right. So now that's going to go find Word, launch Word, and then get the document and open it together.
All right, now I've got both things running. If I want to go back to Excel and click on Excel, Word disappears. Now, that's a problem you fixed, basically, from the old Windows, right?
Our usability lab showed that when people would go click on something like Excel here, Word would vanish from the screen and they had no idea where it went.
Is it up and running, and should I open it again?
Exactly. That's why we've added at the bottom of the screen something called the taskbar, which keeps track of all the applications you have running. So if I can go back to Word now by clicking on it on the taskbar.
Okay, let's talk about file management now and how I do things like copy files and move files in Win95.
Okay, I'll go back to the Start button, and I'll click on my computer. And now we'll get that view I said of all my peripherals. And here we see I have a floppy drive and my hard drive. And let's move some files from the floppy drive. So I'll double click here, and I'll just choose all of these items. And now I'm going to drag them over to my hard disk.
So you can just drag and drop and do it that way.
And I use the second mouse button on Windows, and here I have some options. I can move them, I can copy them, or I can create a shortcut. And a shortcut would leave the original files where they were, but just put an icon there so I could go to a place where I often go for a shortcut, launch the application, and it could be on a network drive somewhere else, or it could be on a floppy drive. But that's what a shortcut does. I'll just do a quick copy over there.
Okay, now there's another thing when I go in the store looking for Windows.